What's up, everyone? We're back. Everything's calmed down a little since the debacle of yesterday's stream. I'm going to now hand the director's chair over to Emma. Should be. Everyone can hear me okay. I'll pull this closer to you as well. And pause notifications. All right, guys, we're still getting set up here. Hopefully everything is in order. Audio sounds pretty good. Miha's looking good today. Oh, did Levi start a gi company? I saw him post a gi. It did look pretty cool. Miha's going to pull it up right now so we can see the gi. Investing his money in his own gi company, huh? Very SoundCloud rapper tattoo-esque style.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I like it.
It's kind of like
What do you
ironic art of some sort.
Right. Like art that's like super simple to the point that it becomes ironic art.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right, we got some questions today in the Discord. We got the YouTube chat going today. I'm feeling a little worn out actually from all this like training and streaming. It's been hard training, especially yesterday. Me and Miha are both pretty sore.
We went so hard on Tony. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, Tony was acting like he wasn't ready for a fight, but he knew the fight was coming. Like, what are we gonna do? Go mess around out there? Like, I'm all about realism. And we got harassed by the armchair experts of street fights, telling us that, the thing is, there were some clips posted to the Instagram, and of course, the trolls came out and they were talking shit, saying like, oh, there's no striking involved. Little did they know if they actually watched the live stream. We did do striking, and once you actually get into close combat, striking becomes less important once you're like in the jiu-jitsu fluidity. So, Chance, the mic, it could possibly work, but we don't need it today. We needed it yesterday for when we were doing sparring. Right now, this mic works better, in my opinion. Cat Rabbit Media is Chance. He's our film guy. He's been the one kind of helping us get this whole thing set up. Well, he hasn't been much help so far, actually, with the setup, but he's helpful in other ways. Some Aoki lock stuff. Oh, the arm snap one?
No, the footlock.
Oh. The Aoki footlock?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
I'll show it later.
Okay. I was just thinking about the Aoki standing arm
It's
lock
like
that you almost broke my arm with.
to the straight footlock where you have your leg over their leg. So if you shoot for a straight footlock on me from bottom single leg X, I do the Aoki lock as a counter.
I see. I don't know. You'll have to show us. Yeah, you edit abuse, report for abuse. Yeah. Well, you edit, it's true. But you're supposed to give us technical know-how. I had to figure this out myself. Luckily, I understand technology a little, so we got it going. Dealing with athletically strong. There's all sorts of topics we can cover. We're going to be in here a while, so we don't need to rush through anything. We'll get to all the topics. What's up, Andres?
Andres, what's up?
Man, I was debating today, like, do we let another isolated individual like Andres into our squad, or if that's violating all of the the codes of conduct, because it'd be so cool to have Andres in here with us, but we'll have to wait for more information, I think. Maybe as testing comes online, like you were saying yesterday, when there's more testing. Oh, there's a $5 donation from AM Park. I've seen you around before, AM Park. You've been in my streams a long time ago. Who would you recommend an adult who is starting BJJ but wants to start competing early, or wait later once their game is more developed? No, compete right away. If you're going to be competing, it's a very good idea to just get in there. I encourage all the white belts here to start competing. They all started competing within the first few months. Well, not all, but most. And I think it's like good to kind of cultivate that vibe of like understanding that competition, it doesn't matter if you win, it's just to go and like see what actually works. I always preach this, just like see what actually works. Go try it in live situations against someone who is trying to stop you from doing things. So even in here yesterday, like that's what we were doing. We were just trying to see what works. Obviously there's no street jitsu competitions, but if there were, I would go and enter those. That would be sick. Dang, what if we started a street jitsu comp? And it's like, there's different categories of like t-shirts category, hoodie category, and then you just run like a little in-house tournament. That could be our first in-house tournament.
This idea is so good that you shouldn't have just said it on a live stream.
Yeah. Well, we know all the information. We know more than anyone else about street jitsu now. And street jitsu was done by other people first anyways, by Optimus BJJ. They actually texted me last night. Yeah, it can include slaps, and we were including slaps. But it's more like, it's not about slapping to actually injure someone, it's about slapping to show them that you could get hit there. Because it's like, the only problem with that is a lot of times like Tony was trying to slap me while I was on his back. It's like, what are you doing? You might as well just try and escape. It doesn't really do anything. Tony, what an idiot. Trying to slap me while I'm on his back. Where is that guy anyways? It's his birthday, he doesn't want to come hang out? Hopefully he's feeling okay.
This comment got hidden by Nightbot, but it's Kendall.
It's
Kendall from
it's
Legion.
from using emojis, because the sex bots use emojis.
Gotcha.
Anything that's like a non-text character, it'll time out. It's the only way to deal with the sex bots, because the sex bots litter their names with all sorts of emojis and stuff, so they gotta ban them. What is more important to you when competing? Give people an exciting match, or play according to your plan, even if it's not eventful or exciting? I don't think you should have you should have like a very broad game plan maybe, but you shouldn't be trying to get to like a specific move. You kind of just like want to let what you've been training in the gym take over in the competition and try and see what works naturally rather than try and force something. It's like you're going to go out and fight anyways, but you need to not over focus on performing a specific technique, but kind of see what your body naturally does, because that's all you can really do in competition is just let your instincts kind of take over and not overthink it. And then you'll see what actually worked for you under that high pressure situation and what your brain kind of decides to do under that stress. Stephen Andrikopoulos, is that a Greek name? Should new practitioners, white, blue belt, focus on selecting, perfecting a very particular game or a general understanding? Would the answer vary by age? I don't think it would vary by age. And I think you just have to do what you enjoy. Like, what part of jiu-jitsu do you enjoy? Do you like playing guard? Do you like doing takedowns? Just kind of focus on what area you enjoy the most. It doesn't have to be super specific to like one particular thing. All of jiu-jitsu, all of the realms of jiu-jitsu have great techniques in them. You can become very skilled in each. There's 3 main realms, I would say: standing, guard, and passing. And you can kind of specialize in any of those and have success in matches. But you still have to know the other stuff. All right, I can't see the Discord really. My eyesight's gotten worse today.
I have to lean in too. So the first question is, thanks Mika, I have a question. Can you please go over defense when you get snapped down to a 4-point position? An example, you're still standing, head and hands down, butt up, opponent in front. In any particular defense to avoid conceding a takedown and of course avoid chokes, etc. This is more a no-gi situation, right?
Well, it can be in both. And Mike, we actually covered this already on Keenan Online in the front headlock course.
Right.
We talked about the cross wrist defense. We talked about defending front headlock chokes, and this applies to gi and no gi. it was mainly talking about like defending the choking hand, because usually there's a choking hand and a control hand, or I've been calling them choking arms and control arms. And the one that's going towards your neck, you can do a cross wrist. Just go to the, is it Mastering Positions front headlock?
No-gi courses.
Or under no-gi courses,
front
headlock course. Check that out, Mike. Tell me if that answers your question. If it doesn't, just reiterate it here in the Discord and we'll get to it. But if we already have videos on it, you should just reference those, I think, real quick, because so we don't eat up more time. One of our go-to back escapes, I can show some of the basics there. We also have the back escape course, Alan. Maybe you weren't here yesterday. I think we talked about it. That's in the back escape, Mastering Positions back take course. Before we get started here, Legal Smash had a question. He donated $5 and said, Keenan, you're doing a great thing here. Could you show your A-game armbar from the back? And also, is a bow and arrow a go-to attack for you? Bow and arrow, for sure, is a go-to attack. Armbar from the back, I can't show it yet because we have to get to the Legion members first. But remind me later in the stream and we could probably get to it. And also, we have a full back course where I talk about all that stuff. Oh, and today, guys, up here in the top left corner of your screen, you see a little text Keenan to 555-888. That'll just put you on our text newsletter, basically. But we just use it to send content. So your first text, when you text that Keenan to 555-888, you get the gi book that we made a while back for the flow contest. So we just continue that. You can get that gi book. It's Emma actually put it together with a lot of different content from Cristiano and me and everyone here. It's a great little ebook. I saw some people actually printing it out. I was tagged in some stories. They printed it out and they like actually turned it into a little binder book, which was pretty cool to see. On Flow's Who's Number One podcast yesterday, Baron Bushesha trashed 10-minute matches and advocates 6-minute matches with points only for side mount back. I'd have to hear the rest of the context. But thanks for the donation, AM Park. All right, guys, we're going to get into the actual technique portion here. We can chat all day. Maybe I'll do a live stream later in the day where I just kind of talk to you guys. But for now, class is in session. We're going to do this traditional Japanese style. Mm-hmm. I hope I'm following all the procedures correctly.
I think you have to put your hands like this.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
I'll have to ask Justin Flores what the proper words.
Right.
Is that what it is?
That's what they say normally.
Right? Like that?
I'm pretty sure. Okay.
I'm just going to say us because that's all I know. Okay. All right, ready? Us. I forgot to tell everyone to do it with us. Well, I'll just assume you did. Okay, we're going to talk about one of my go-to back escapes. Now, you can see me use this escape pretty regularly, even just the rounds we did yesterday. I use this back escape all the time. Like anytime someone jumps on my back, I just use this really simple concept that I picked up from the Satoshi brothers. Back in like 2013, I saw them doing this all the time and no one else was really using it, and I just started adding it to my game and it became very effective. And it comes into the same, there's like a fundamental concept about like defending chokes and like what your opponent's arms are doing when you're defending the back, and it comes down to the choking arm and the control arm. There can be two choking arms, there can be two control arms, but most often it's a choking arm and a control arm, so they have you in like a seatbelt. Oh, Chris is in here. Can we mod him real fast? I don't think...
Do you use this?
There you are, Christopher. Boom. All right, so let me just demonstrate. Go ahead and stand on your knees here, just so I can show what the control arms and the choking arms are. Sit up for me here. Oh yeah, Andres needs a mod too. So look, someone's on your back, they're ready to attack, right? They need to get control of you, and they're gonna do it by trying to connect their hands, right? So people connecting their hands, the second they connect their hands is when you're in trouble. Now you're in a slightly deeper, shit, I would say, from this position. Oh, we got the ospreys flying overhead. Can you guys hear that? So when they connect their hands, this is the danger zone. Really, when someone's attacking your back, your main goal should first be to defending their hands connecting. So if Miha would like hand fight me as I did this, this would significantly impede my progress as I'm trying to attack the back, because if I cannot connect my hands, I cannot throw hooks in. Because if he holds my hands and just grabs one on each and I'm trying to like do anything, I'm in trouble, right? So what happens is people try and look for different controls. Like I try and like reach across to the collar maybe. I don't necessarily go straight for seatbelt, but most people go for this. They go for straight seatbelt. If they're going for collar one at a time, it's much harder for him to hand fight against me. But because that's not a common reaction for people, you can really take advantage that everyone is taught seatbelt, seatbelt. That's all they want. They just want to take seatbelt every single time. And there's a huge weakness in seatbelts. Isn't that right, Miha?
Yeah, I guess.
It is.
Except for saving lives in car crashes.
Yes, wear your seatbelts. That's another was a huge issue, seatbelts. Everyone said, oh, seatbelts, no one's going to drive our cars if we don't have seatbelts. Hundreds of thousands of people died. Same thing with our current situation. That's why we act preemptively. All right? Okay, so now, someone's attacking your back like this. I'm going to show you what happens here. The way this seatbelt works is it keeps me latched to his back if I'm falling off this way, because my forearm hooks underneath his armpit. So if he's on his knees, now you can go on your knees. If he's on his knees and I have the underhook on my left side, I would be attacking my hooks to this side because the hook underneath his armpit is what anchors me to his back if I were to fall off in this direction. So if he tries to shake me off in this direction, I would be fine probably. But the issue with the seatbelt is if someone starts to tilt me in this direction, like just stay right there, Mihan, don't go all the way over. But if I have the seatbelt, there's nothing to hold me onto his back. And in fact, I can kind of just like fall off. And if he wanted to come to his knees, I can't pull myself back up onto his back. Okay? Now, that looks too easy, but it actually is very easy. So when you're on bottom, the goal should always be trying to roll your opponent to the weak side seatbelt. And when I've taught this, I've experienced people kind of having difficulty knowing which side is which. When someone's jumping on your back, it's hard to remember. The way you think about it is you go towards the arm that's in closest to your head. So if they have the seatbelt, it would be here. The arm that is not separated from your head by a grip is the one that you're trying to tilt them towards. And as you're doing that, you need to be trying to open their hooks as well. If they're trying to throw hooks in, your hands should be looking to block hooks and defend a choke all at the same time that you're trying to take them to the weak side of the seatbelt. Are you doing some stretching exercises here? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to have Miha attack my back real fast. He's going to be careful not to hit the mic as he does this. So let's say there's a scramble and Miha goes to attack my back. The very first thing I need to be doing here is trying to stop him from connecting his hands. So before he jumps on my back, as I feel those hands come in, I'm trying to block his hands from connecting. Just blocking his hands from connecting gives me a way out because he can't throw his hooks in, because if he tries, I can clear the position. And if he doesn't try and throw his hooks in, he just tries to like regrip to other positions, I could potentially open one side and just turn into him to clear, because there's nothing stopping me from doing that because his hands never connected. His hands only really have power when they secure to something and create a full loop, whether that's on a lapel or his other hand. Only once he secures that full loop does it become difficult to escape. So that's your first line of defense. If he successfully seatbelts me, go ahead, Miha, successfully seatbelt me here, I have to think, okay, which side is the weak side for his seatbelt? It's this arm. It's the arm that's in the seatbelt with me. So your free arm that is here, this arm is blocked from my face. I don't want to go that way. I want to roll my opponent to the free arm side. This arm is not being controlled. He just has the armpit. This arm is a little bit more controlled. So go to the free arm. I'm trying to roll him to that side, or I'm trying to get him to that side. So that means putting my right hip, my right shoulder, and all of my body facing this way on the mat here. So I start turning this way immediately, and what will happen is if he's really good, he'll actually let go of the seatbelt and post there with the right hand so that he can readjust, because if I continue to turn, he'll at least end up in side control or something like that. But because people are so greedy, all of you, greedy with your positions, greedy with your grips, holding on because you think it's the last thing you can do because you made it this far, right? You have to fight that urge. You have to realize that sometimes you have to let positions go to maintain a dominant position. Sure, you had the seatbelt, maybe you see the back right there, but sometimes you have to wait and let them do their defense, secure them, and then re-attack once their base is less secure. So he takes the seatbelt, and let's say he doesn't post, or even trickier, I grab his wrist so he can't post. So I roll this way. It's a very common turtle escape, but I'm not trying to do a full reversal. The full reversal looks like this, where I actually trap, roll, and then try and come on top like this. I don't go for this one very much. This is the traditional turtle escape. It's one you see people teach at beginner level sometimes. It's not very effective, because if I go like this, and go ahead, get a strong grip, seatbelt here, and I roll him over, he can pinch this really tight, and if I continue trying to turn, he can actually just throw hooks in and take my back, and it usually results in you getting your back taken more than an escape. So it's one of those things that's just been around so long, but now that jiu-jitsu fighters are way better about throwing hooks in and the whole sport aspect has come in and tightened up the game, those traditional movements don't work as well.
I remember doing this in judo.
Yeah, it's like it's a classic judo move. There's a lot of old school niwaza that works really effectively. This one is just in the current jiu-jitsu back take situation. People are really good at throwing hooks. It's a little less effective. So I suggest this one I'm about to show you. So he gets the seatbelt. I roll him over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this way, and then I'm going to roll back the same way. And what will happen is he'll get left behind because he has nothing to pull me back onto, or pull him back onto my back. So I roll this way, and then now look, I'm going to turn, and you'll see, and as long as he doesn't knock my mic off, you'll see that it's very difficult for him to secure something. So this is his only hook onto my body, but if I turn here, he can squeeze really tight, and he might even hold my head. I'll just take my mic off for this. He might even hold my head here. But what happens is once I get to this position on my knees, I'm not at threat of a choke or an armbar. I'm not at threat for any sort of hook sliding in. And the only way for him to get back up on my back is for him to let go and try and post his hand on the mat and come up, right? In which case he loses the control. So go ahead and do it again, Miha. Just like seatbelt. We roll. Here, when I get up to my knees, I just grab his head like this so he can't follow me. And I just circle, and my head will just pop right out of this position. If you don't believe me, go watch. I did this for Cyborg. I've done, like, anytime my back has been taken in competition or someone's attacking my back, I do this escape. It's incredibly effective. And if you want to see someone do really well with it, watch Roberto Satoshi. That is a very, very effective back escape. Who asked that? Someone in the Discord? A lot of people, right?
I think someone asked for your highest percentage back take.
It was on there somewhere.
Yeah.
Let me just clarify who that was. So that is a super effective back take. It was
Alan Lee.
Alan Lee, yep. And then Mike Lee follow up. It'd be great to see how you approach side control escapes, guard retention by giving up your back, like you've alluded to previously. Very good question. So that ties into what I was just doing. So every time I bail to the back, like if someone's passing my guard and I bail to the back, I'm still following those same exact principles. That's kind of how jiu-jitsu works. It's like sort of a base principle, and if you follow it, you'll be more successful overall. It might not work every time, but just follow those principles. And the principle is, number one, don't let them connect their hands. If they do connect your hands, roll them to the weak side of the seatbelt, and then grab their head and turn into them, almost going to north-south. It's so reliable that I'll actually do this every time someone passes, well, not every time, but most times that people pass my guard, I will just give my back and do this escape. So how that would look is if Miha passes my guard, he'll pass to this side. Here, I'll post like you normally would. If I turn in, my goal is underhooks, right? If I turn in, my pretty much only chance of escape is underhooking and bumping, trying to get up to my elbow and escape. That's like probably the only move that is reliable to get out of bottom side control, is just quickly applying an underhook. But if I feel like that's not going to work out for me, which it usually doesn't for me, I don't know if it's because I'm tall, but underhooks from bottom side control just are not super effective for me. I don't like using all the strength it requires. But here I'll try and keep space or keep a frame. Really the main goal here is just to not let him connect his hands for as long as possible. As I get up to my elbow, my left hand would be still blocking at this arm, trying to not connect his hands, because I know if he doesn't connect his hands, I'm safe, okay? As long as he doesn't connect his hands or get this hand into my collar to choke me, I'm pretty safe. I'm then going to get up. Now he's on my back. I'll defend the choking hand. And now I'm going to roll to the weak side. So I will either trap and roll this way, or even just do like a forward roll and tuck, and it's up to him to kind of decide how he's going to follow me. Sometimes I just do this, like a forward roll, me, how you can try and hold on here. Go ahead, just like get a good seatbelt and just stay on my back. I'll just kind of roll to the side. If I can roll to this side here, now I'm in the perfect position. Now look at this. From this position, as long as he keeps the seatbelt, he's going to stay underneath me. If he tries to get hooks, he can't get the bottom hook because my hips are completely flat on the mat. His top hook can't reach in because I can block it with my arm very easily. I don't even have to peel it out like some people do, just like peeling the foot out. I can literally just block and just keep my elbow and arm kind of connected, and I'm safe from these hooks. I just have to also be aware that if he starts trying to reach this hand into my collar, that I'm blocking it as well. And you can do that with your free hand. So I can block the choking here, and I can block the hooks here. And this is just the defensive posture of the back escape. Now to actually escape, I'm just turning up to my knees. So I kind of just use some momentum to wind up, because I don't want to just like do a big bridge, because if I bridge, that exposes my hip to the hook. Another subtle detail, but this is why momentum is important in jiu-jitsu sometimes, because if I bridge, doing a traditional movement like a bridge, it actually is bad in this position. He'll just get the hooks. So I actually keep my legs tight and I rotate them to get momentum to come up to my knees. As I come up to my knees, I move my hips this way as much as possible. I gotta take my mic here. Go ahead and keep that. I reach to the head and I'm ducking my head out and either end up in north-south or sort of an underhook side control position. So there is some concern about actively avoiding the collar grip. Yes, there's two things you're worried about in that position: getting choked and having him put full hooks in. So we're trying to avoid those things. And then the one step before that is just try and delay their seatbelt grip as long as possible. What do you think of that? Mike Lee, excellent. Did that make sense? I feel like that was a pretty thorough explanation of that one.
Thanks.
That's a really easy escape that anyone can practice and get good at. Just every time someone takes your back, try and think about those things. And it's one of those things that you have to really put deliberate practice into, because if you just go into a round and you just start getting all crazy and just like getting hyped up on the bloodlust that everyone experiences in these fights, just like fighting to the death and not really thinking, it's hard to improve. So you need to actually, whenever someone takes your back, literally stop and just think, what are the three things I need to do? And by the time you think about this, they're going to be on your back already, so they've solved some of the problems for you. They're going to be trying to choke you. They're going to be trying to put their hooks in. And before that, they were trying to get their seatbelt control. So 1, block the seatbelt control. 2, block the hooks and the chokes, and be looking to roll to the weak side of the seatbelt. And that should cover all your bases. And then it's just a matter of getting faster and recognizing movements that people try. And then there's sometimes people can continue to chase your back, and you have to do like a roll over their body to escape the position. I'll go into it since we're here already. This is like good stuff, guys. This is like one of my best moves. This is like the best back escape. There's like 2 good back escapes, and this is one of them. The other one is like pulling their arm over their head and pushing it. That one's super effective. So check this out. So if he does the same thing, when he gets a seatbelt from a turtle, and he knows that my intention is to roll him this way, he's going to sag his weight and try and take the back this way. So I can't roll him, and he doesn't let me. But look what happens now. As he continues to try and take my back this way, as he pulls me over, look, I resist, and then I go with him over. Now look where we're at. We're in the same position. We're in the exact same position here. I'm defending the hooks. I'm defending the choke. And then I'm using momentum to get up to my knees. Here, if he tries to follow me, I have the grip behind his head, and I can use both hands for this. And you can see I'm not at risk for hooks. And if he does manage to try and transition to a choke, I can continue bringing my head out, and now this choke is not threatening. Okay, so you can see how that kind of just peels apart his whole back attack attempt. So you just go to both sides. Texting the number gives you access to the ebook. Someone just asked that in the chat. You get an ebook, and then you're subscribed to our texting newsletter, where you can get videos, and we'll just let you know that what we're doing that week, basically. And there, you can unsubscribe at any time. It's just like any other text message with the little stop at the bottom if you need to. Yes, it's definitely something you need to drill. It's something that you need to do live sparring of, like starting in these positions. Something we were doing at Legion for a while where someone would turn away from a guard pass just to practice this movement because it's so effective.
What's in the ebook? Just downloaded it. It's free. Like, just check it out.
It's a free ebook that you just get texted a link and you can. It's a PDF basically, and it's the gi book. So it's all sorts of gi tricks and tips, kind of like the one I just showed you here, the back take. It's just chock full of all these different kind of gripping ideas from worm guard, and I think we did some De La Hiva stuff in there, some reverse De La Hiva, some passing grips. It's like 70 pages of just different techniques and little tricks. Sort of like a, I don't know, a little survival guide, I guess, for the gi. If you're outside of the USA,
We have a link somewhere. Wait.
we can just email us. Just email us.
That's very labor intensive.
info@Keenan Online. I have very short but very thick legs. What can I do to help me secure hooks? Thanks. You got to watch people that have similar body type, like JT Torres and Marcelo Garcia. You'll see they tend to secure one hook and then control the back with just one hook for most of their back attacks. And then usually that results in getting the final hook. GG in the chat. Is he a member here? That's why I was asking earlier.
Yeah, but he didn't fully identify himself.
Yeah, you just need to identify yourself, bro, so we can send you the Discord. Wait, now they're not going to text the number. You just gave it to everyone.
This is just for the international ones.
Oh, for internationals, you can get that link. Can you pull up Discord again?
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Glad to see you back. I'm glad you're all coming to class every day. Jake from Lululemon, he's in here. Does this escape work for double wrist control Kimura grip from the back? No. That is a different situation altogether, and you need to avoid that. If someone ever gets Kimura grip and a seatbelt, you're in a really bad spot. And that's another attack that I really like to use a lot as the back attacker, getting hooks and then getting seatbelt and then trying to secure the Kimura grip because it helps with this exact escape. That's kind of a counter for it. But you can defend that as well as the person who's getting their back attacked by just making sure that you're trying to keep their hands separated, defending the hooks. One arm at the neck, one arm at the hook line will keep you from getting Kimura. It's only when you go double arms to the neck that they can lock a Kimura in with the seatbelt. So that's a very good question, Jake. And it does not work for that, no, but you can avoid that preemptively just with the knowledge that it exists. What does it look like if you're late defending the seatbelt? Cosmo, that's a good question. You literally just do the same thing. The separating their arms is just so you can scramble out before they take your back. You don't want to ever just let them get seatbelt, right? Your goal is still to escape and get back to guard. You're not just like, oh, I'm a turtle master now. I'm just going to like defend with my back only. No, you're just trying to defend the seatbelt so that you can turn away or get up or do a, some sort of escaping movement. You just kind of scramble out. But if they do secure the grips, you just do what I just did. That's what you do when you are late to defending the seatbelt grip. You do that roll to both sides. Does that answer your question, Cosmo? This is like when things go bad and they do get the seatbelt. It's not that bad. The seatbelt's not that difficult to deal with. Not breaking the seatbelt, Cosmo, you're not breaking the seatbelt. You're just stopping it from connecting. If he connects already, you're not focused on breaking it. You're not breaking this grip. You're just going to move around it with these rolls. But if he's trying to grab a seatbelt, you can just impede that progress a little bit, and it'll make him kind of have to panic of what he's going to do next, because he's going to try and throw his hooks in too soon. He's going to try and fight for something seatbelt grip, and if he's hyper focused on one of those things, it can expose a lot of mistakes and potentially a way for you to get out.
Can I get your thoughts on something that's like in the same area?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's about the thing that you showed last, where you jump over.
Yeah.
And then I want to ask if this makes sense. So we're here, you start taking my back, you start sagging to this side. I jump here, and then do you think there's any value to launching your hips backwards here?
No.
I'm gonna grab your head.
I mean,
turn around
that's
like that.
exactly the same thing, but you don't launching them that way doesn't really do anything. Just launch them in the direction to your knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So you bring them here, and then you.
Right, but you have to be careful because if I'm here and you put your hips flat or your chest or your back flat on me like this,
Yeah.
that's when you're going to
gonna
get crucifixed.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be turning already. You have to be turning this way to stop the crucifix. So you want to sit in this position, but you can see how you can't launch your hips here.
So you just have to sag them, grab you.
But you don't bridge. You have to use momentum. You have to bring your knees and then you go back to get to your knees. That's the only way to defend yourself. Because if you bridge in any way, the hook just comes in. Just boom, no problem. You have to stay here on your side, and you have to roll up and then roll down. That's like, it's a weird thing, but you have to master that movement kind of. But you have to just avoid bridging. Yeah, stopping it, Cosmo. No problem. What if the opponent tries to come up to mount?
How?
That's not really possible, Alan. It's just not really possible. He's on your back. He can't just come to mount. If he tries to go to mount, you're turning away. It just wouldn't happen like that. Hani Sarduk, my old buddy, asked, any good way to deal with the straddle? I'm not sure what a straddle is. Do you mean a saddle? I know the saddle. Maybe clarify. All right, I'll go back to the Discord again, see what the next question is. Oh, Darce defense. We can go over Darce defense for sure. There's a really easy Darce technique I know. I'll show that here. It'll be hard to do with the mic, but I'll try and hold it in my hand to do that. And Albert, asking how to take the back if someone did this defense, you'd have to beat them. You have to know that they're going to turn to your weak side seatbelt, and you have to not go for the seatbelt. You go for double unders. Albert, if you ever came to my no-gi classes, you would know this. I teach it. Every time we take the back in no-gi, we don't do seatbelts in no-gi for this reason. We do double unders control. That way they can't throw you off in either direction because you have double under control, and there is no weakness to the seatbelt. You're sacrificing the ability to go for the rear naked choke immediately for the security of the position before submission. So you do the same back takes that you normally would, but just go double under. So you're not threatening the choke. So it's a slight downside, but it will help you take the back against this defense. All right, so let's go into some Darce. One quick Darce defense. Normally you don't have to deal with Darces in the gi, but since we're here and it's a question from the Legion members, we'll get to that. So this is gonna be kind of tricky to do, but I'm gonna try and pull it off. Just fix my gi real fast here. So this is a technique that Leo Vieira invented, and I learned it probably 8 or 9 years ago, and it's served me really well. There's all these kind of weird moves that no one knows and no one really does, but they're out there and they work. So Miha gets me in a Darce. Like this. So here you're in the thread of the Darce. Normally it's going to start with this grip here. He's going to use that to push my head down with his elbow, so he can get the angle to then secure the grip over the shoulder here like this. Can you guys hear that okay? I'll try and clip this on my sleeve maybe. So from this position here, my goal is to open my shoulder, right? Actually, I have to put it on this one. My goal is to open my shoulder. So let's rotate this way so they can see this a little better. So I'm here. Put your legs over here more. Yeah. So look, I'm going to be getting Darced in this position. I want to roll to the side that I'm getting choked on. So if he's choking this side, I want to be here with my arm up. And now from this position, I need to create as much space as possible between my shoulder and my neck. This side is where I'm getting choked. But the only side I can control is on this side because my arm is on this side. So I'm going to use this arm to create space so my neck is open here. And with my neck being open, I can actually survive the Darce a little bit longer. Now look,
I'm going to reach up and over my leg. But I post my foot on the mat in a way that it supports it. So if he tries to drive my elbow down to get the darts tighter, my leg supports this and can defend the motion. Now watch this. This is just to hold out for a second. I bring this hand through to his knee, like so. And I bring my other leg underneath and I rotate out here. And this actually breaks the Darce grip. The pressure of it is very, very strong. And then I don't stop here. I do like a little shrimp, and I swing my legs and start sitting up to escape the position. Okay, let's do it again. This is another tricky movement. So here, I wanted to be trying to defend this before it happens, but if you do get locked in, I'm dropping to my right shoulder, and I'm reaching behind my knee. And look, his grip is still tight, but when I open my leg and I roll to my back, that grip will break. And then from here, I'm just sitting up and trying to free the position. Can you guys hear me? So I'll show it without a partner. So you're getting Darced on this side. I want to drop to the shoulder of the Darce lock. So the lock is here by the right side of my neck. I drop to the shoulder like this, and then I'm reaching behind my leg. This creates the space. And then I have to like stay on my head, but bring my right knee underneath to like replace where my left foot is. Here, and I'm holding his weight with my leg, and I have my arm strong, and I roll through from here like this. And the weight of my body falling will open the Darce lock. And if it doesn't open it completely, you stay there and keep rocking until you can break that grip. And he has to either let go or readjust the position and he can escape. I started doing that back at Purple Belt, and it served me really well. It's like one of the only ways I know that you can actually escape a Darce locked, fully locked. Does the roll threaten him from finishing the Darce from mount? No, because your right hand is at his knee and his hip, so he can't step over you. If you put your hand in the right place, he can't follow and step over because your hand is blocking at the knee. This leg's behind your leg, this leg is there. So I'd suggest trying that one, guys. If you have your little training buddy or dog, or get your dog to Darce you, maybe you can try and escape. I'm not sure how you're going to practice that one right now.
I can hit you with a Keenan Online question. They dried up.
Sure, let me just look and see. Yeah, so that's how you deal with it. Yeah, and the Legion guys are all out of questions, it seems like. We can transition. I'll read some of the YouTube chat. Would I have not learned how to escape crucifix from bottom? It is a really, oh, you would like to learn, or you have not learned? Perhaps this is a language barrier thing. Crucifix from bottom, it's very difficult to escape crucifix. Some lapel lasso questions.
I think on Monday we should do lapel guard only because it's a gi day. So
Yeah.
we can only do lapel guard.
That's a good idea.
That episode will be brought to you by the Lapel Encyclopedia.
Yeah, so for all the questions about lapel stuff, on Monday we'll do a lapel super lesson and kind of talk about all of the unspoken rules of the lapel. Honey, no, I haven't considered that. I don't think I would last long if that were the case. Can you comment on your match with Roberto, how to avoid the Berimbolo sweep? I mean, the sweep, you can get swept by a Berimbolo. You can avoid the back take pretty reliably. Sweeps happen all the time. They're just a constant thing. If someone's threatening to take your back, you're better off getting swept than giving your back taken, or giving your back.
Do you want to read this person's message? It's really nice. I think he's watching because he's green.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, this is from a Keenan Online member. We're just going to read his message to you guys here. He says, yeah, I was going to say this. I'm confused. This is T.M. Jackson. He says, hey guys, I don't have any specific questions at the moment, but I just wanted to reach out and commend, okay, so he's just complimenting us. and commend what you're doing with Keenan Online. I made the decision to stop training during this pandemic on the same day that you guys made the decision to close Legion, despite my gym remaining open at the time of this writing. And the fact that you are using your position in the BJJ community and making such a responsible and evidence-based decision in a sport dominated by bro science. I feel like I'm just patting myself on the back reading this.
I should do
Yeah.
this one next time.
Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate the support. I think we all kind of have to not wait for other people to tell us what to do in this situation. You all know what the right thing is to do. We all kind of have an intrinsic sense of morality, I think. And if you know people are dying, you should take steps to try and do your part to prevent that. But I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Here's another one here. Stahl says, I have a lot of success with Keenan's guard passing strategies involving standing with good posture and preemptive grip breaking, but I find this often leads to them transitioning into a sit-up guard on my front leg. How do I prevent their immediate off-balancing attacks from their position and maintain my guard passing tempo advantage? Yes, this guy gets it. This guy follows the system. I love it. Thank you so much for following the system. I can tell by the way you're writing this that you understand what's happening here. So you're trying to use guard passing strategies and you're threatening your opponent so much that they start to sit up instead. So I'll have Michal go on his back here. And he's saying that probably by some of the various guard passing strategies that I teach that I think are super reliable, he's threatening his opponent a lot. So maybe he just does a basic toreando here and his opponent feels threatened and eventually recovers, but then doesn't want to stay on his back anymore. So he sits up. Because if you stay on your back, you are at the mercy of your opponent. It's very dangerous to be on your back with no grips. It is a good idea to sit up, secure grips, and then if you want to go back to your back, you can with whatever grips maybe you made. So his issue is when his opponent sits up here and he starts to maybe pull him in and off balance, something like this, right? He does a successful attack from seated guard that made me post my hands or flop in an uncomfortable way, and now I'm in a worse position, right? With single leg X, this is much more difficult to pass than an open guard. I'd have to free myself from this position. He's probably gonna sweep me or be able to set up more attacks. He now has regained tempo. I'm the one defending, he's the one attacking. For me to be the one attacking, I'd have to fight my way out of this position. So how are we going to avoid getting off balanced? Well, from open guard, there's some simple concepts, like from someone laying down like this, put me in like a De La Hiva with a collar control maybe. The off balance comes from here, like kicking my leg. This is a common off balance from open guard. Breaking grips is the first thing to do to avoid off balances. The second thing is having good posture. If I take like a deadlift stance, it's much more difficult to be off balance from here, but can be difficult to set up passes. When you take a strong posture to avoid being off balanced, you're kind of sacrificing your ability to attack. So it's a thin edge you have to ride. But when someone is seated up into you, once there's close contact here, and it's less about my ability to move, because when he's on his back, I can move laterally, I can engage first. He's the one engaging here. So most of the time, people are gonna have a hook around your leg, doing something like this. And Stahl can maybe clarify if he had a different position in mind. But I must fight for underhooks. If I can get an underhook as he sits up, I'm going to win this battle. Just underhooking on the side that he's gonna try and take my leg. In fact, as he sits up, if you build the skill of getting an underhook, the second he sits up, he's exposed for a knee cut because he's gonna try and pull you in this direction anyways. Even if you have a really shallow underhook, just your hand, that's enough to stop him from getting enough control on my leg to actually sweep me. So underhooks are so important in jiu-jitsu. Fighting for the underhook in the middle of transitions just give you such a strong tool to continue attacking and stay on tempo and stay attacking. It's when you do nothing that you find yourself in trouble in jiu-jitsu. It's like the ankle lock paradox. Everyone is worried about ankle locks, but if you just do something, you won't get ankle locked. And it's kind of like this. If you just do a fundamental movement, like, I'm not sure what to do, maybe I should do one of the fundamental things that work, underhooks, something like that. It's gonna give you a tool to work with going forward, because once you get the underhook, now you know what to do. Most people know that from an underhook, that's a great time to do a knee cut or just like pressure in. Like I can close distance and get to strong positions because of the underhook, and he's left with really no options other than to fight for the underhook himself. So underhooks are a really good way to secure your base and stop immediate off-balancing attacks. However, there are gonna be situations where you're late. And when he sits up on the leg and I can't get the underhook and I start getting off balanced, This is when I need to use my arms in different ways. One thing that kind of serves as an underhook is just a nice grip behind the back of his head on the collar here like this, okay? If you look, my hand is in the same position as it would be in an underhook. It's just about 6 inches higher. So it's not terrible, but it's not as good as the underhook. And what I'll do is just drive my elbow into his neck and just anticipate the off balance. He's not gonna off balance me this way because I have my hand to base this way. He's gonna try and off balance me this way in one way or the other. So I need to be pushing and riding out that off balance by keeping my posture strong and being ready to track with this leg depending on where he goes with the off balance. Now I have to concede that he has the control grip and I do not. So I'm not gonna be attacking from here. I'm gonna be in defensive mode, which is not good, but it's the right thing to do. So I'll try and ride this out and try and fall into a knee cut position, or usually knee cut is the best way to deal with someone sitting up into your guard. And he might try and come up on a single here, and I need to just be sprawling and trying to clear my leg and circling to just reset the position. I'm not really worried about like passing right off of this. If I get the underhook and win the battle for tempo, which if you're unsure about what tempo is, we have a lot of topics or a lot of videos discussing that on Keenan Online. So here, underhook, I can attack because I won the battle for control. If I lose the battle for control, I'm not gonna pass right away. I kinda have to just like, okay, I lost the battle for control. He's gonna try and do something to me now because I don't have control grips to set anything up. I need to weather this storm. Wherever he may try and take me, I'm going to ride it out. So if he tries to off balance, I'm just trying to maintain my base and keep distance and posture and hold. And then, yeah, maybe he passes the grip. Sorry, I'm crushing your fingers. He passes the grip here like this. I'm still just trying to hold. And if I can't get an underhook, an overhook also will help. I can overhook defensively, try and sprawl and kind of ride out this position, trying to get him to maybe turtle, and then now I can start attacking front headlock. If I can get to a front headlock off of this defense, I'm in a pretty good spot. Because from here we can do that same motion that we talked about a couple days ago, where you're kind of just like pulling you both to your sides, securing underhook control, and potentially reversing the position through getting a front headlock control. So it really comes down to who is getting the control point. For him, it was around my leg. For me, it was the underhook. Whoever loses that has to kind of wait for an opportunity to get the next control point. In this situation, it would be front headlock as he tries to use that hook around my leg to do something. Usually a single leg is what people try and do from there. If he goes to half guard, we're still just trying to knee cut. There's a ton of great videos on the website, Stall, on knee cuts. We just did we spent a long time on knee cuts. We probably filmed 8 or 9 videos just on knee cut variations. And knee cut variations are very powerful against seated guards. So I suggest you check out the knee cut variations that were uploaded maybe probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. If you're having trouble finding those, just go ahead and shoot a message back on the website. Can you switch it back to YouTube? Can you put your foot in his belt for worm guard? Yeah, you can use the belt for worm guard. It's called belt worm. I think there's a side discussion going on. Some chat teachers are teaching how to do something.
I think this one we can answer as well.
Well, just real quick, I saw someone in the YouTube chat say how to take the back from front headlock, and that's just that's an important thing to know, to know how to do. And you can see me do this. There's one I particularly like. It's a wrestling move, which I think a lot of people will have success with. The easiest way is like the most basic thing possible. You have seatbelt, or you have front headlock, sorry, and I have to circle to his back. But if I don't do anything with my arms, this arm is just gonna catch my leg as I circle, and he's gonna be able to follow me and give me problems, and maybe I'll fall down or something. You could switch to crucifix maybe, but what I want to do, come back on this side. When I have front headlock control and I want to go to the back, I need to block this arm from grabbing my leg. So I bring this hand in front here. I post up on my toe, so all my weight is on his shoulder, so he can't just pop up and out of the position. And I just circle, and look, my arm was blocking. So even if he tried to reach my leg here, as he tries to reach, my arm keeps it down and out of the way as I secure. I'll just kick your mouse. Okay? One that I like to do that doesn't expose you as much, because this can feel kind of exposing, because it's like, well, you're like almost upside down with your shoulder on his back. Maybe he'll like escape or something. It's unlikely, but it does feel a little less secure. What I like to do is just keep chin strap, armpit control, and I just dig my head into his hip here. And I actually put all the weight across my shoulders, like the ridge of my shoulders here, and look, I'll be looking at the camera the whole time. See this? If I do this, he actually can't grab my leg either. So I just keep the head, I go up. If he tries to reach for my legs are actually too far away. And I can keep the chin, I have his chin still, and then I grab the ankle. And if he's circling as well, so because he's probably gonna be circling too, but I get his ankle, I can stop that circling motion with this ankle control and come out to the back. That's a wrestling maneuver that is super effective. You just go along their shoulders. And this is why wrestling is so important to practice. Yeah, it is a more secure feeling. You'll feel it. It feels more secure because you have your hands in control. But with the other one, you're kind of just like doing a breakdancing move on your shoulder, basically. Like just controlling him with your shoulder, it's harder. But you get that chin strap control, you get that ankle, and he's almost like getting like, that's probably like a pro wrestling move, like where you bend someone over your back. So yeah, front headlock is a really powerful position. There's lots of transitions. You can go to crucifix, you can go to all sorts of awesome front headlock chokes. One that's my favorite right now is getting front headlock and then trying to just pull his arm across just a little bit to connect my hands, and he's gonna start worrying about the darce, right? And what I'll do is I'll just put my knee in front of the elbow so he can't get that arm back. And I don't have a tight control here, it's just controlled. But from this position, I hold and I bring my hips in front of his arm, and I can actually let go of my grip because I just have the grip around his tricep, and I'll even grab the belt or the pants or something just to get my hips to this side here. And then from here I reconnect my hands and I hook over the leg like this. This is a pretty cool guillotine you can pull off, and it works really good for people with long arms because now he can't roll to escape the position because I have his leg hooked. And the more he actually lifts his hips up, the tighter I can get my arm in here, and then I just bridge here. Yeah, that move is super good. I saw when I was training with John Danaher, he showed some sort of variation like that, but I wasn't really following what he did with his hands, and I just started doing it like that, and it's been working really well for me. If you ever don't know how to like get more submissions in jiu-jitsu because you're not passing guard effectively, or you're not getting to mount or getting to people's backs, look for front headlocks, because everyone gives up front headlocks. And it's basically mount position, back position, kind of all in one. You have so many options from there, so many attacks, so many dangerous chokes. Exploring front headlock is probably one of the most beneficial areas as far as seeing immediate improvement, because you don't have to take people's backs or mount them or knee on belly, side control. You can literally just front headlock people and win all the time. It's so powerful, and it's ignored as one of the main positions by most people, but the people who know, they know. Someone donated $5 for the guillotine. That was sick as hell. Us, senpai. Us to you, my student. I'm glad you liked it. That's a great guillotine. Yeah, most people's headlock game is not super strong. Training with Josh a lot, training with guys who have that chin strap control and really know how to like sweep from the front headlock and pass from the front headlock and switch to underhooks and crucifixes from the front headlock. There's reverse triangle. It's probably the most versatile control position. Luckily, we have an entire course on Keenan Online on the front headlock and talking about all these movements and the transitions into crucifix. Albert, I know you wanted to learn more about crucifix entries. Front headlock course, the Nogi section. Check it out. Can I pull up Discord again?
Can you answer that one too?
Which one?
The one that was open.
Oh yeah, let's see. Thanks, Albert. I'm glad you saw that. La Toro donated $20 and said, "Can you show cross choke?" What?
ARS? I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
Currency.
He donated an unknown amount of money and says that the money doesn't matter. The content of the question is what matters. It's highlighted, so I'm going to read it. Keenan, can you show cross choke from knee cut position? Yeah, I can show that. Yeah, I'll just show it real fast. It's pretty simple. Head this way. Maybe we'll tie it into what we were doing earlier. Let's say he sits up on a seated position. This is probably the best time to start working knee cuts. Instead of grabbing behind the back, you could reach for the collar here like this, but I would actually suggest just getting a left-handed grip on this collar, still reaching behind the back because it's important to be able to push his head this way. If you reach on this side to try and cheat this and go straight for the cross choke, he can still move this way pretty effectively and you might not be able to attack the knee cut if he goes berimbolo or something like that. So reaching on this side of the head is a little bit more secure for control, dropping that elbow, and then even grabbing the wrist to help you kind of steer him down to the ground, because if you don't control the wrist, he might just post and then do what I just said earlier, going back the other way. So behind the neck, bringing him down to a knee cut position, letting him kind of have quarter guard here, and then using the other hand here to open up the collar. And when I trained with Homolo for a few months ago, probably like 4 or 5 months ago, he told me to reach super deep on this. Like most people just kind of grab where they can and it feels secure on the neck. What Homolo said, reach super deep like this. And then if you grab deep enough, you almost like have to like turn your arm like this, like really like loop it around to get the grip tight. It's not a straight shot. I can't straighten my arm and then grab behind his neck with a straight arm. It just doesn't work. You have to actually loop down, get this grip. And once it's super secure, bring your elbow up onto his chest. And you'll see Miha start to choke here before I even use my other hand. I just come here and put pressure in. It's already uncomfortable. And what this does is it creates such a tight pressure on this side of his neck that you don't even need to use your left hand for choking power. You just can do anything on the other side of his head, just push his neck further into the choke. Here, I can literally just push his head and he would choke. If I want to really be secure, which is how you finish cross chokes actually, is just really overcompensate. I grip the material on the gi or I get my thumb inside. I usually just grab anything here. And then I'm just pinching my elbows into the same line and driving down, but mainly trying to get his chin to look into the choke more. So I don't necessarily drive on the neck. I go on the neck and on the chin. So my arm is long. I don't want to just put my wrist on his neck like this. I want to put my wrist on his neck and my elbow on his chin to open his chin and drive it down. That's a very important detail for cross chokes. If you're not doing that, you're going to have a much less chance of finishing cross chokes. Reaching super deep, trying to bring your elbow back to his chest and flatten him out, which he's not going to do. He's going to resist. Coming over the top, and I'll loosen this so Miha doesn't die here. So now I have a loose grip, but he's already would be choking. I'm pushing his chin over the choke and then down. You have to like use it like a can opener, just like lift his chin a little and then down, and that's going to lock those chokes up. And that can be done from anywhere, even like bottom position. If I'm here, we were talking about a few days ago how if someone's on their knees, kind of cutting the angle and then getting a super tight collar grip is such a strong position against people on their knees. That's the perfect grip setup, because if he tries to pressure into me here, it's very easy to get him over to the other side and start putting that huge pressure on his neck, because he has to try and face me. The more I turn and push, the more he has to try and face me, because if he doesn't, I'll take his back. So he's going to be trying to duck his head underneath, but my elbow is going to be on his chest, and I'm going to keep moving. But when I'm ready, I let him go. And look how tight this grip is now. Over the back. Look, I'm just on his jaw and ear. I'm not even on the neck, but I could just fall. And then once I start putting pressure, that cross choke is going to be done. Cross choke is a very strong position, but you just don't do it like that. People teach cross chokes like that. Like, this is not how you cross choke someone. This is how people teach cross chokes. You put your hand in the collar, you put your hand in the other collar, and then you twist, and you flare your wrists, and you squeeze. Not effective. Focus on the one grip, get that one super tight, and then you don't even need to do anything with the other grip. You can just be here and choke someone. That's how you do a cross choke. Makes me sick. How much improper technique is being taught. Worm when there's major knee pressure. That's what worm is best against, major knee pressure. But on Monday, we'll do a lapel only thing. Can you flip us back over to the Discord? Oh, I got to answer this question too. We got a white belt, guys. We got a white belt question here. And I'm not saying that in a demeaning way. It's just the facts. He's a white belt and he's got a question. He says, this is James, and he says, let me catch my breath. James says he's finishing up the white belt course and has been doing BJJ for probably 3 to 4 months super consistently. Do you recommend I move right to the blue belt course? We would love to hear Keenan talk a little bit about how best to progress through this course.
What's BJJ?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what it is.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's doing.
I forgot people are still doing that.
Yeah, it exists. He's doing, who knows where he's at. I mean, I teach BJJ too. I would say that the AJJ is more the techniques that we have created, like the Americans have created.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So,
He's in LA.
this guy's in LA. He says,
Finishing of the
yeah,
white belt.
should he finish it? Yes. Should definitely finish it. The white belt course is very much how to do jiu-jitsu without being lost. It's not a huge focus on technique. It's more of just like a conceptual thing, which is kind of backwards for what most people do. Most people wait to be conceptual like until someone's more advanced, but I think it's actually more important to teach concepts in the beginning, like basic concepts, and that's what the white belt course does. And it teaches the concepts of what's actually happening and what your goals are. If you hear me talk, like with the same thing with like keeping the arms separated, looking for underhooks, control points, that's kind of what you need to teach people first. So they have a goal to actually go for. Like Jory, Tony's girlfriend in here, she just was doing some jiu-jitsu the other day and she'd never trained before, and I kind of walked her through like, what's the fastest way you can just start rolling? And that's by teaching concepts rather than techniques. It's like, well, you're trying to get past his legs. What would you do to get past his legs? Well, she just shoved him to the side. I'm like, yep, that's a Toriano pass. Good job. Like you don't even need to teach people if you teach them the goal. And that's what the white belt course does. The blue belt course gets more into technique. And the technique is the different guard interactions. So how like gripping, like De La Hiva, spider, lasso, half guard, how to pass those, what you need to do with your hands, pressure-wise, how to play it, what you need to do with your hands, and like guard retention-wise, and then what the goals are from there as far as like a sweeping goal, a submission goal, passing goal, etc. So yes, it's totally fine to move on into the blue belt course, but I would stick to focusing on those. There's actually a ton of content in the blue belt course, and we're revamping it right now. So you're gonna have to work through that, and wait till you're consistently using multiple of those guards together. Like we said a few days ago, what I'm looking for in a purple belt is someone who can mix multiple guards together and play a lasso De La Hiva or a lasso spider effectively, or transition from spider to De La Hiva and be successful from both those positions. And then also, as a passer, being able to disassemble one guard, break that guard down into a weaker guard, a guard that's a closer layer, and then knowing how to attack that second guard position. That's what I'm looking for in purple belts, is the connection between the positions. The blue belts, you just need to know the position. Keenan, what's your pick for the move? Attack or escape from the bottom side control that does not require space to be created for you to execute. Dude, you're looking for like a miracle? Is that what you want? You want to escape from bottom side control with no space and nothing required? That doesn't exist. If someone is on top of you and you just want, like, how do I just get out from underneath here? It's not, you have to create space. You have to create space or have prevented space in the first place, and then secure underhooks. Potentially you could bridge someone over with just like strength, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it's a difficult question to answer. Todd Kelly donated $4.99 just for fun. Thanks, Todd Kelly. Appreciate the support. How to defense against a straight jacket so I can apply the back take that you just went over. How to defend against a straight jacket. Apply the back take. Okay, so if they go, say, I see what you're saying. You're saying if they go for the back, you defend and they switch to the straight jacket control, what to do? The Danaher system of wrist control. Do they call it straight jacket? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they do that.
So Alan, one of our members here, is asking, well, first, most of the time people won't be able to do straight jacket until they get hooks. So this doesn't apply to the first back escape that we just did, Alan. This will apply to the second back escape that I said was equally effective and should be your second line of defense once they get hooks. The defense to the straight jacket control is to put your hands up by your head, like this. This is the answer, okay? If your hands stay low and you stay like this is when he traps your arm. And if he traps your arm, you're screwed, okay? So what you need to be doing is the second someone starts trying to control your wrists, you need to be lifting your arms above your head, like here. Because if you keep your arms up, even like grabbing behind your head like this, he won't be able to bring your hands back down, and it doesn't expose you to chokes or dangers any more than anything else. Because if he does start going for a choke, you just defend. And if he starts setting up straight jacket again, I just go back up over my head. And this is the hand fight that occurs, all right? So if you go seatbelt, here you're gonna be in a, hey, what's up, Victor? How are you, bro? Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the $10. Appreciate it. That's Fighter's Choice Mastermind. Ooh. So here, seatbelt, don't have to worry about it. Just defending the choking arm. If he's going straight jacket, whatever control he might get for straight jacket, hands are going up over the head. When he goes back to attacking chokes or arm locks, I go back to defending. And when he goes back to straight jacket, I go back up over my head. And my goal here is to get wrist control on whichever arm is on bottom, and I'm trying to bring that over my head. So I'm fighting with my own wrist control now, Alan. Pay close attention. He was trying to control my wrists. I defend it, and I get his wrist. And I'm trying to bring this over my head so I can get my back flat to the mat. Once I can break this position, I can start keeping this arm away, planting my hips, and turning in. Now look, I control this arm so he can't get up to his knees, because if I don't control that arm and try and turn in, he's just gonna mount me. But if I keep this arm controlled and pushing it across his body with both hands, then I keep it in the top arm so my bottom arm is free to post up. If I keep it in this hand, I'm not gonna be able to get up. I don't have an arm to use, but if I keep it in the top hand, my right hand will post, and as he tries to get up onto me like this, I'll be able to come on top. You do have to be aware of the triangle there though. He could shoot a triangle. So you have to be aware, right? Just move that hand and block it. Question, can you talk about how to deal with a physically strong and athletic spaz on the mats? Like Tony?
How do we deal with
How do we deal with Tony? You just be really aggressive back with him and just use a lot of technique. Now, when someone's moving a lot faster than you, you have to pick a guard or a position that slows them down. It gives them grips to think about. If someone's spazzy, chances are they're not putting much thought into grips. So you need to be trying to get grips that control the situation and hold someone down so that they can't actually move around as much. So spider guard, lasso guard, worm guard, cross grip, things like that. Close guard, probably the best for holding someone down, keeping them from moving. And then looking from there, once you get control, trying to work your way to tight submission locks that are difficult to scramble out of, like omoplatas, triangles, kimuras. You want to avoid things more like arm bars. They can just pull out and then you lose everything because you overcommitted to the arm bar. Leg locks even can be tricky against someone who's fast and spazzy because they can escape completely and then you have no grips again and now you're dealing with their full spaz. So you need to be getting those control grips. Billy Cho, what's the defense against footlock in your worm guard? Don't ask, bro. Just don't ask. Sullivan, we went over, if you've been checking, you can check our Instagram out, at Keenan Online. We just posted, probably like a week ago, we posted 3 videos about ankle locks. So you can get some content right there, no problem, just some little tricks. That's a good question.
We're not weak.
Huh?
We're not weak.
You're not? Are you sure? Ride is coming. People want armbar from the back. Yeah, I guess they do. I mean, I'll tell.
It's a stupid move from the back. You're gonna lose the back if you do that.
Yeah, normally you want to go for chokes from the back. Like, you should be getting the choke. The armbar from the back, it's giving them a good chance of escaping because arm bars are a lot easier to escape from than the back. That doesn't mean you can't do it. I would, like, if you're gonna switch to an armbar from the back, it should be a reverse triangle from the back. Going straight to armbar, there's a reason you don't see people do it too often. And when they do the armbar from the back, it's because the person's escaping the back already, and then they go for the armbar from the back. But you never want to sacrifice position for a submission that might not pan out. And armbars are one of those things that are not guaranteed. So really, this is what I do. And this is in our Mastering Positions Back Control course as well, I believe. The goal here would to be, there's two ways to do this. You can trap the arm like straight jacket style and get your leg up and over. The other one, which I saw Gio do when I trained with him, was for him to grab his own ankle. And what this does is, even if his arm is kind of like in the way, you can clear it very easily and get like a cross pin here rather than the same side pin. So this would be the same side ankle pin. But if you go here over like this, Gio Martinez did this to me in training one time, and it was so good. Like, it was one of the best moves I've ever felt. Crossing the ankle like this over the arm here, and then letting your opponent kind of just slide out of the position. I'll just keep the grip on the collar underneath the lapel here. Put your legs flat so they can see this grip here. And then this locks over the neck, and he can't actually just slip out of this. This is very tight. And then I just lock the figure four like so. And now when I go for the arm bar, if he tries to connect his hands here, my legs keep his hands separated. And I can really easily switch to arm bar from this position here. But if you're on the back and I just go here like this, and then try and like clear his head, and then start this is the problem. Like, it's this transition over the head is so difficult to secure that it's almost not worth going for. It's because you need the Kimura grip, because if you don't have the Kimura grip, he's for sure getting out. So you need the Kimura grip, and when you go over the head, the Kimura grip's not enough to really secure the position. It's just not as effective as it could be. Where this straight jacket to wrist control to set up reverse triangle again can be good, but I would suggest the Gio Martinez version. I'm not sure where he learned this or if he came up with it or what the deal is. You guys can ask him. But just like reaching to the cross ankle so it gets over his hand. And it just is like, people don't really see this as a danger until it's too late, because then when I go to the collar here like this, I lock up over the neck. And if he tries to turn into me at this point, he just gets into a normal triangle. So it deals with that same risk of him escaping by putting him in an even deeper, worse situation. And if he doesn't turn, or he tries to turn that way, the triangle just locks on. You lock that super tight. Your leg is in front of his arm, so he can't actually extend. And then going behind the armpit's a really good way to finish. All right, guys. What time is it?
13.
Let's answer a few more questions in the chat, and then we'll probably end class here. Let's see.
Can I show the Aoki lock?
Sure. Yeah, we'll have Mia show the Aoki lock.
Yes. So the way I do the Aoki lock normally is from when he's on bottom. He has single leg X or something of the likes, and he tries to go for a foot lock on me, or at least shoot his legs up into single leg X. So this is where I'm already too late. I have to do something else. But when he has his foot coming up here, I go really deep and I turn my arm out like this. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is simply fall back. So I'm going to fall back to the side here, and I'm not doing the same mechanics I would do for a straight foot lock, where I'm trying to do this to his ankle. I have my fulcrum here, and I'm pressing this up, so I'm actually trying to get the ligaments that are here on the ankle. So I have a really tight grip, and then I post on my elbow here, and I lift my hips up, and it's very painful.
And the problem with this is the normal ankle lock escape doesn't work because his leg's over my thigh. So if I'm just trying to turn and put my hips to the mat, this is going to stop my leg from being able to turn, and he'll be able to keep leaning over.
Yeah.
All right, they probably couldn't hear me. So
No, doesn't matter.
explain it.
So we know that for any leg lock or foot lock, we need 3 points of control: on the ankle, on the knee, and on the hip. And here the ankle is obvious. I have it wrapped, and I have control both on the knee and on his hip by pushing this leg down super hard. I'm also curling my hamstring in, hiding my own foot. A lot of times what happens is he'll have his own foot lock here, so he'll be attacking his own. but I'll take this. I'll take my odds here any day because I'm going to produce much more painful leverage, and I'm going to do more damage than he is in this position. So this is the normal footlock position. With the Aoki lock, I'm actually, my legs is actually on top, like this. You can do it one more time from standing, just so you can see the transition into the grip. So we're here, he's scooping my leg up, he's coming up. I grab this, I make sure I have the right position, and I squeeze.
That one comes on fast.
Yeah.
That is a good ankle lock because it kind of stops your ability to just use his momentum to come up on top, which is one of the main ankle lock defenses, is just coming up on top. So that's one of those things that if you really want to avoid it, you kind of need to be aware of it. It's a surprise movement, I'd say. All right, we're gonna start easing down now. We'll take some verbal questions, some verbal answers here. You can do other leg locks from there. That's true. Very observant, Valent. You can do other leg locks from there. Crab guard. You've been playing crab guard, Ezra. I haven't put much effort into crab guard lately. I've been having a lot of fun doing like super old school judo niwaza moves. Thanks to Bruno Lima, it opened my eyes to a lot of the cool techniques you can do. Been focusing a lot on collar sleeve stuff, but not as much crab guard. But maybe I can get more into it now that things have slowed down. Best to worst guards in Nogi, it's pretty clear. Single leg X is the best guard, followed by butterfly, seated guard, and then coming up on single legs is those three are the main ones. And then worst would be open guards where you're flat on your back. Anything in an open guard position where you're flat on your back is pretty tough.
What do you think about half guard in Nogi?
Half guard, definitely same kind of ball game. Half guard, half butterfly, all those half positions are strong. How would you explain the complexity of jiu-jitsu to someone that doesn't do it? It's one of those things, it's just like you have to get into it to really see how deep it goes. It's very difficult to articulate to someone who doesn't know. It takes a long time to understand jiu-jitsu. All right, guys. A lot of technique questions still, so we're going to move on.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are lifting. We're going to do a lifting session here in the gym. I'll try and set up the backpack stream so we can just hold the backpack on so you guys can just kind of get a first-person view of that. And yeah, we'll just lift for about an hour and a half, maybe do a leg day or something. I haven't done legs in a long time. I'm not going to be as strong. Cowboy Boyhoy says, my hero, with a little gif. I didn't know you could do that. Thanks, man. I'm not sure what country you're from, but Norway. Appreciate it.
That's $3.
$3 solid, thanks. All right, yep. Thank you, guys. Maybe I'll do a stream later where I just answer more questions. I could do that from the house, potentially. If there's a desire for it, I'll let you guys know on my Instagram or something. So don't forget to text the number, text Keenan to 555-888 to get your gi book. It's right here, in the corner of the screen. You'll get a PDF. Check it out. There's a lot of good info on there. I promise you'll like it. If you don't, you can come back and harass me on the stream and tell everyone how awful it was, but that won't happen. It's so good. I promise. I'm not sure if we're going to roll today. I think Tony is incapacitated. Yeah. He's probably sore or something. So maybe no rolling. We're going to film some techniques for Keenan Online now. Film three techniques to continue updating the Blue Belt course. So if you're looking for more jiu-jitsu, Keenan Online is the place to be. I hope you're all staying safe. Things are going to get worse and worse now as far as the virus goes. It's going to get a little crazier. We're going to be more contained, probably forcibly, over the next couple weeks. So be mentally prepared for some jiu-jitsu focus because you're not going to have much else to do. Study matches, absorb the content we put out. We put out so much. It's like there's tons you can check out there. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Fantastic day. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Austin. Thanks the Legion members. See you all later.